So, hi, I'm Urbshell Plummer. I am a senior in the program, the Principal Educational Administration Program at Prairie View A&M University. My site supervisor is Ms. Evans, who is assistant principal at Haskett Junior High, and the purpose of this meeting, so it's to implement strategies we talked about in our first meeting. And I'm gonna quickly go through what we discussed and go through our data a little bit. Can I control it up here?
I think so.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So our big focus is moving our kids from advanced to advanced high. And we know that Haskett mirrors statewide challenges in writing proficiencies such as writing and speaking. Okay, so here's our demographics from the 23-24 table report. So we have about 1,359 students currently, and I think the number has actually increased since I've checked, which is a lot of kids. Our biggest grade is the grade we're going to focus on, which is 8th grade. They have about 491 students. Race, ethnicity, we have about 42.2% Hispanic. African American 29.9%, white 15.9%, Asian 6.5%, biracial 5.2%, American Indian 0.2%, Pacific Islander 1%, and our male to female ratio is about 49 to 5%, and our male ratio is 50.5%. 50.5%. And economically disadvantaged, we have about 59.2%. At Reese, we have about 47.4%. Our ESL students, we have about 21.4%. Our special education, we have 16.3%. Our section 504 is 3.7%. Because last time I said 30, it was 30. And here's our total staff demographic. We have about 112 staff, 0.5, because we do have some, Ms. Youngblood clarified, we do have some staff that can be considered like half day, so they're they can be like 0.5 in the coding system. So we have about 82.9 teachers here on campus. Professional support, we have about 9.5. Administration, we have 9 administrators. Educational aides, we have 11.2. When you break that down by sex, so female 71.1%, and male 28.9%. Teachers by ethnicity is down here, and our teaching average is about 6.8 years. So what that tells us is that most teachers at Haskett are veteran teachers, which is really it's notable for what we're going to be doing. To know that we understand what we're doing. Okay, so district type. Katy ISD is classified as a suburban district located in the Houston metropolitan area, and it covers about 90,000 students across diverse communities. So we stated our purpose. So instead of the needs assessment, we're actually going to be implementing strategies that we talked about in our needs assessment. And we're going to be moving kids from advanced to advanced high. And then, okay, so here is our TOPAS for 8th grade. So beginning 6%, intermediate 36.6%, advanced 44%, and advanced high 14%. And this was in 2024, table report from 2024. So I pull this from. So here's another data. And this is statewide, and then I'll pull up Haskett in just a second. So here's a snapshot of Haskett. So we have about 215 EB students and growing. Actually, I think this number currently is about 221 because we got a lot of kids that we didn't even know they were coming. And then we have 27% that are dually served. So that means they have special education and they have in their English learners. 90% currently at advanced and a small percent at advanced high, so it's like 3% or something like that is at advanced high. And TOPAS is our key accountability measure. So this is what we talked about, the advanced to advanced high, why we should do this. I don't really have to revisit, just to kind of bring it back to your remembrance. Again, this is our advanced to advanced high. Okay, the problem at Haskett. So we these are the things that we came up together as a group, and now we're gonna talk about possible solutions. Okay, we talked about this. We talked about our data. Can you do me a favor? Can you click off and go to my next slide? Just exit out for me. Yeah. Okay. So here's what we're gonna talk about today. Here's the meat of our presentation today. So day one, designing targeted strategies, building a foundation of growth from advanced to advanced high. And we do have to go around. We do have to introduce ourselves again, so we can start from the back and tell us a little bit about yourself and the years of experience you have. You don't have to get on camera though.
So I'm Toby Abasi. I teach 8th grade science,
How many years of experience do you have?
and I've been teaching for 8 years.
Okay.
Hey, I'm Taryn Kanik, and I teach ESL Social Studies 6th, 7th, and 8th. I've been teaching for 8 years.
I'm Natalia Franguli. I teach 8th grade ELA, and I've been teaching for 10 years.
I'm Preston Broussard, teaching 8th grade science. This is my 4th year.
Okay. Thank you all very much. Okay, so session purpose. So we're going to refine targeted strategies for growth, and we're going to ensure consistency across content areas, and we're going to build that teacher collaboration in real time. Okay, so root causes. This is what we kind of talked about last time. So vocabulary gaps. So one thing is when I've been going on in, I've been very intentional about looking for these in real time, right? Looking to see how can we truly fix this problem? Because sometimes we come with these great solutions, but they really don't work in real time. Like, it's great for paperwork purposes, right? It's great for presentation purposes, but in real time, like it's not obtainable. It's not realistic. And then sometimes our kids just don't buy into the things. But one thing that I did do with Miss Franguli's class is that her class is ELAR. And so like first persons, verbs, things like that, we actually made handouts and we put them, even character, they were showing with character traits, right? Like knowing, like, instead of miss, you know, what's another word? We actually gave them things to put in their interactive notebooks. And so instead of relying on us so much, and what I seen today when they, was it their CR? They raced. When they did their race today, unlike before, they were pulling out their notebooks and they were going on their own, and they were pulling their own vocabulary. So they weren't relying on us. And then I also told them, like, hey, you also have a translator. If you know the word in Spanish, you can put it into your translator, get it in English, because we want to build that independency. That's a part of that advanced high, because like we said in the first session, when they go to high school, y'all, the things that we do for them, it won't be done. And unfortunately, is after high school, they're gonna graduate. And if they don't graduate, then that's even another set of problems. And we know for them to get a job, to function in society, if they want to go to college, if they want to get trades, even now, you can't even be a truck driver if you have like certain level, if you don't have a certain level of English proficiency. Like everybody is currently requiring it. And so, you know, giving these tools is something that, you know, as the ESL teacher, how would this look like in social studies? What would this look like in science? You know, and so what I talked about is that we all have access to your unit plans, and we actually provide those words, those vocabulary words for the kids, so that they have that exposure. Because what we learned is if they don't, they're gonna struggle with their unit, especially like for 8th grade. A lot of words are content specific. Some of our kids, this is the first year I've had so many beginners, and I've had so many kids come to me and they had no exposure to English, and I'm just like, this does not happen. This is not, you know, typically how it goes. And so how do we help these kids? But what also, keeping fidelity, we have about 20 other kids in the room. And so that's something, you know, what do you think about that, Mr. Preston? Like going before, like I know we're working on force. So I'll pull in vocabulary words and I already have it done, and it'll just be like here, making sure it's in the interactive notebooks, but it won't just be like for this unit. The goal is to keep it consistent for every unit that we have. What do you think about that in science? What do you think?
I think it could be a good thing. like you said, it creates that independence so they can go back to it. And are y'all putting like words and definitions, or?
So it'll be the word, it'll be the definition, and it'll be a picture.
Mhm.
Is what it'll look like. So they have it in there. Now, I don't want them to know that you have this and so I don't have to take notes. No, that's not what it is. You still have that accountability piece. You still, like we told them, you have that. You know, you go look up that word. You know what character traits are. You know it even had like personality. Remember, it had a whole bunch of stuff that we're like, we're taking the how we navigate off of us. We're taking the responsibility, that's the word, off of the teachers, and we're like, you go find it. I gave you this, you go find the kids even have their Chromebooks are so good to where like they can hover over a word and it'll take them back to their native tongue. So it's completely student led. But it's just that tool that we're seeing, if they don't have that, they're going to struggle. So, and it will take some collaboration among us, you know, like maybe us coming together 15 minutes every 2 weeks. Let's check in with it. Well, I'll get to that later. But it will take some collaboration among ESL and Jeanette, you know, and it'll be quick. Like I said, it'll be quick things, but it will take us working together to make sure that we can get these kids from advanced to advanced high. Because like I said, we're at 90% advanced, and it sounds good and it look good, but we know that to get them ultimately to where they need to be, we need to be at that advanced high. Okay. So another thing is limited writing structures, which these kind of tie in together. And sometimes in science, y'all, just most things are, somebody said inquiry based, I believe. It's more like investigations and things rather than the whole writing piece. And so maybe that looks like us getting creative and using tools like Kahoot, using tools, you know, that's interactive, that's not taking much time from you, but you can say, hey, I can put this in Canvas real quick to pull some data on how is your writing going. You know, what does that look like in real time? Even, I mean, Ms. Ferngully, y'all always writing, so it'll be easier to implement for you. But just what do y'all think about that science and social studies? What do you think?
I think they need to know how to respond to questions. There's verbiage in the questions, so they really need practice with like analyze or significance. They really need like maybe just like a table that, you know, when the question asks, okay, what is the significance of the American Revolution? There needs to be a table in their notebooks that have those words like significance and then a synonym for that or another word for that, so they know significance means importance, and that will help them. And then also starting to write. A lot of them have problems starting to answer the question and write in an extended constructed response. So like you said with the race strategy, having them practice that, restating the question and answering it.
Yeah, and even with inquiry based in science, they're still doing a lot of writing. They have to do a lot of CERs, and having those sentence stems are, I think, important for them to get started. I like what you said. Some of the stuff they need a little bit more help, like analyze, you know, some of those words. Just getting them more exposure maybe to those words.
And that's kind of what it'll do. Like, and this will be like once a week. Now, if you're already using it, I'm not gonna make you do something extra. Like I know, for instance, with Miss Workman class earlier, they were working on like force. They were writing as they were going. So that piece at the bottom could be used to kind of just look at, you know, the writing structure for the week. So it can be embedded into the lesson, or that week. Like I know last week for science, we did, like, our writing was very limited. So that means that weeks like that, it would just take, again, that collaboration piece and us talking together, you know, for me to say, okay, well, let's go in and I'll send you something, you know, or you can pull it quickly from here. Because I don't want it to be, and I'm very, one thing I said is this: when I become an administrator, I don't want to forget how it feels to be a teacher. A lot of times, we look at our data, we have these great things, but it takes up so much time, we really can't do it with fidelity. if we're just being honest. And so, like, when we're implementing this, I want to make sure there's quick things. Y'all, we can quickly pull it. You know, it's not another task or it's not a chore for y'all to do as educators. Because we know that our caseload everywhere, all over the building is just busting out of steam. Okay. And so my last point, need for bilingual family engagement. So I know one thing that we talked about was that how our kids sometimes behave with their friends. I don't think all of our parents know that. And then another thing we talked about is is that some of our kids, when they go home, they're not allowed to speak English. They only speak the native tongue. And so I'm gonna correlate with Mr. Youngblood and Miss Evans to possibly look at having a night, for our ESL families. I don't know if we will do a school-wide thing and then have maybe target groups or target rooms and let our ESL families come in. I'm gonna kind of work that out, the details out with them, but just bringing them to show them the real-time data of we need y'all support. Your kids, when they get with their friends, they may be advanced, like your one friend. Our kids were both probably advanced, intermediate in some areas, but when they got with each other, they both went to beginner. And then they pretended, and I was like, you know English, you know how to speak, and you are choosing not to speak right now because you want to sit over here and be silly with your friend. And he came and apologized, and I'm like, now the English is back. Okay, yes, I accept your apology, but how do we move this from going forward? And I think because it's such a huge problem right now, and teachers are asking the ESL team, hey, is this truly language? No, that's not language, that's behavior. But that's getting this family in to say, hey, we need help to grow your kids. We need help because I know and I learned this as an educator, parents want their kids to be successful. The adults at home want those kids to be successful. They really do. But we need their help to help push that. Not when they're failing, not when we get to tell pass and things are going on. I want to have a proactive approach instead of a reactive, right? Because we know what numbers we can possibly produce, but I want now, while we have chance and we have time at the beginning, that we can implement some things. And so I'm thinking about doing hey, y'all can give me some feedback here. This is kind of where the talking comes in, a Loteria night. We have the little bingo, we have fun, but we also have in this PD. And I want y'all to share the real world things, the thing that happened with, that's happened in your class, share that and how it's hindering them from learning more English. Especially our core classes, they can't goof off there. It is so much they're learning, and they're learning so quickly. If we don't have their support, your child gonna get left behind. And we can try to tutor them, we can try to do all these things, but it's gonna grow. Their language is gonna grow. That content-specific language is gonna grow. And so we're gonna make sure if we're doing this, we need parents to do this. So what do y'all think? What do y'all think about a Loteria night? What do y'all think about that?
I definitely think getting the parents involved is a good idea. The Loteria night, that's a great one. And also if we could get a translator in Vietnamese also, and as well as Spanish, and just maybe a service where we can call for a translator in real time, because we definitely need them to understand the importance. And I know a lot of our families speak limited English at home, and the students are translating and they may not be translating the right information.
That's true, the right information or everything.
Yeah.
Because y'all know when you were younger, you got that letter home, you put that in your backpack at the bottom, at the very, very bottom.
I called home and asked for the parent, and I know it was the kid. He was translating, but the mom was a little bit too happy about what I was saying, so he was not translating what I was saying. Yeah. So having that live translator service, that would be beneficial, especially if we're having some kind of night, because we want them to feel welcome, we want them to feel included. But if they feel that disconnect, if they feel disconnected while they're here, that could be a turn off as well.
That's true. And I bet and I know some may struggle with childcare. National Honor Society has to get hours for the year. Those kids have to get hours. And I wonder if we can collaborate with I collaborate with Ms. Simpson and bring in some childcare. So hey, your baby got somewhere to play and interact, while you're here. And even talk about possibly bringing in maybe snacks or something. I know from like at the district I was at during like the real night, they had the cafeteria to give them like some money back. They had them to make tacos, those little like, you know, Mexican, because it's Hispanic Heritage Month, and that's why I said look the real night, because it's Hispanic Heritage Month. But I do agree with the translator. Spanish, that's gonna be easy. Either we have a Vietnamese or we have a Mandarin speaking teacher. I don't know exactly what she is, and I don't want to say it, but I do know we have one. And I'm more than sure, one thing I've learned about Katie is that they don't mind assisting if it's going to be beneficial to our kids. We just need to know in advance. And so what I was thinking about, and y'all give me some ideas, October the 30th. So that day, it's the day after it's Halloween. We don't have kids, it's a PD day. So I was thinking at night, maybe even for like an hour or so, you know, we have our nice little event, everybody go home, the next morning we have PD so we're not exhausted from the kids. What do y'all think? I'm gonna shoot the idea of Mr. Youngblood. I know a lot of teachers weren't here, so I'm not surprised he wasn't here today. But what do y'all think about that? About like on the 30th, and it would be of course after school.
Yeah, that would be great.
I think it would be beneficial.
Yeah.
And I want to bring in y'all. I would like to incorporate in our slides like what you're learning. Like bring in bring in a copy of your book. Well, not like a complete copy, but like a cover of it. You know, and like a few slides of like this is intense. And so if you're goofing with your friend, if you're playing with your friend, you're gonna miss some stuff. You know, and the same with all of our classes. Like bring in real world time things that parents can see. Like, hey, we need your assistance. We need your help, so that you know we can add questions from what they're learning, and then their parents can see. Yeah, they can see in real time. And then also at that point, and so my goal is next week is to. So I did it with ELAR. So social studies, we can collaborate. I plan for the next, and I have all of your things. So like my plan is that Friday I give you, you know, that sheet that I was talking about, with the words, with the definition, and with the picture. And the goal is moving forward is that we have that built for every unit. Now it won't be for every single word, but those major words: force, acceleration, mass, you know, Newton, you know, the different Newton laws, and it's in one place. And then also have it for a check. If I'm giving you something, the expectation is when I look in here, it should be here. It should not be in the bottom of your backpack, because that holds them accountable. So, okay, I'm gonna be respectful of time. I know we have to end things, but we will come back tomorrow.